Hello, dear subscribers and guests of my channel. Today I want to show you booties for a boy. The booties are made in two tones. The main colors are light blue and dark brown. The sole is imitation. It is made with teething along the entire diameter. If you are interested in this version of booties, stay with me and knit with me. To knit this model, I will need light blue and brown yarn. I made the yarn in 8 strands. This is 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters yarn is 11 centimeters along the sole. Hook number 2 with a hook for the main knitting. Hook number 175. I will hide the tails. I will also need markers and colored metal eyelets, 4 millimeters in diameter. To install the eyelets, I need suitable pliers. They are just right for a diameter of 4 millimeters. Insole and glue. I glue the insole with glue so that it does not slip out of the booties along with the foot. I started knitting the bootie with the dark brown sole. You can see how to knit the sole on my channel. My sole is already finished. It's made from 17 chain stitches, making it 72 stitches. I crocheted 2 crochet stitches with a pono. I knitted the sole with a raised edge. To form the teeth, I knitted another row of single crochet stitches, which is why it's a little raised. I'll finish it and prepare the last stitch so that it can also be used. I'll start knitting from the heel. 72 stitches is an even number of stitches, so alternate between an extended single crochet and an extended single crochet. Extended single crochet. And so I knit the first stitch in a circle. I tighten it. If you can see clearly, the next stitch is just under it, a small hole. So, wheel. Alternate between the next stitch. This means I'm going to lower the stitches down not into this row, but into the next one, using an extended single crochet. Try to keep the extended stitches loose so that you don't end up with large holes when knitting the next row. So, I'll knit the entire row. We'll meet at the end of this row. I knitted the sole completely, and that was my second row. My first row was with brown yarn, single crochet. And this is my second row. Now I'll knit the border with single crochet. To do that, I need to knit 4 rows with single crochet. I don't count these 2 rows together with these 2. That'll be 6. I'll start from this row, where we knitted the teeth. In the 5th row, I'll show you how I decrease the stitches at the toe to make the toe less pointed. So, we'll meet after the 4th row. I have knitted 4 rows with light blue thread, not counting these 2 rows. In the 5th row, I marked 20 loops in the center. Of these 20 loops, I will decrease 4 loops through every 4 loops. This is already the 5th row with light blue thread, not counting this elongated row with elongated loops. So, I knit to the marker. I knit the loop under the marker with a single crochet and start decreasing from the next loop. I will decrease through the front lobes, knit 1. Like this, pick up. The next 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again I pick up 2 loops through the front lobes, knit 1 single crochet. Also 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again I continue knitting through the front lobes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and before the marker, I have the last 2 loops left. I knit them as one. I decrease. I remove the marker. We don't need it for now. And I will knit to the end of this row without changes. I knitted to the end, mark the central 32 loops with a marker. These 32 loops will be needed for knitting the central loops and side pieces. My booties will start in the center with 8 loops at first. Therefore, I start knitting from the 13th loop. There should be 12 here. And on this side there should be 12. 2, 4, 6. 12. I start knitting from the 13th loop. I will knit the central 8 loops. 1, 2, 7, and 8. I want to make sure that I really knitted 8 loops in the center. 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 0, 1, 2. Everything is correct. Having knitted 8 loops with single crochets, I make the next 2 loop slip stitches. I turn the knitting and start knitting from the second loop. 1, 2, 8, 9. I already have 9 loops. I need 14 loops. After I cast on 14 stitches, I will continue knitting without increasing stitches. Slip stitch. Second slip stitch. I turn the knitting over and start knitting from the second stitch. 1, 2, 9, 10. I already have 10 stitches. I have 4 stitches left. We will meet when I have 14 center stitches. I knitted 6 rows and added a stitch to each row. As a result, I now have 14 stitches in work, which is what I planned. I have 6 stitches left on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will knit the last 4 stitches on each side a little differently. That is why I have 2 stitches left. First slip stitch. Second slip stitch. I turn the knitting over, but I have already cast on the number of stitches I need, and that is why I will knit without increasing. And I start knitting stitches from the third stitch. 1, 2, 13 and 14. Still 14 loops on this side. In the same way, I pick up 2 loops, knit them with slip stitches. And I have 4 loops left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on this side exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the knitting and start knitting from the third loop. 1, 2, 13, and 14, the last loop. So, I knit to the last 4 loops from each marker. Now I will knit not for the whole loop, but for the middle, for the share from the inside. First slip stitch, second slip stitch. Turn the knitting and start knitting from the third loop. 1, 2, 13, 14. On the other side, exactly the same way in the middle of the loop. 1 slip stitch. And the second slip stitch. Turn the knitting and start knitting from the third loop. 1, 2. The loops and half loops we've made will be needed for knitting the back of the bootie. I knit the last 2 loops before the marker in exactly the same way from the middle of the loop. 1 slip stitch and a second slip stitch. I turn the knitting over and start knitting from the third loop. I should still have 14 central loops left. Do the same on this side. First slip stitch. And the second, last slip stitch. So, we've knitted up to the markers. The toe is ready. I'll continue knitting the tongue. I'll need more loops for the tongue. I already have 16. I already have 14. And now, in the next row, which I'll start knitting, I need to add one loop on each side. There should be 16 loops. Starting knitting from the third loop, the first loop. And I knit one more loop into the same. We need to add 2, 3, 14, 15 and then the 16th stitch. I added 2 more stitches. And now I will knit the top of the tongue. From this first row to the last tongue, I need to knit 26 rows. In the 22nd row, I will decrease 1 stitch on each side, on this side and on this side. In the purl row, I will knit in the second to last row. These are front rows. I will decrease 2 stitches again. 1 stitch on one side and 1 stitch on the other side. And then I will knit along the purl row without changes. I should have 12 stitches left. Here on this top part, I should have 12 stitches left. After that, I will tie the tongue, and the front part of the bootie will be almost finished, not counting the tongue holder. I will knit the entire tongue, tie it, and after the front part is ready, I will show you how to knit a holder for the tongue. I knitted the front part of the bootie, and all that remains is to make a small bridge to hold the tongue with the laces, so that the lace does not sink in. I marked the height. You can take any height you like. I will do it between the last and the penultimate hole. It is easy to do. Like this. Right in the middle between the 2 holes, I make a free loop. I leave the tail a little longer, but not that much. A loop like this is enough for me. I already know at what height I will have it. I count these cables. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cables are 8 loops down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I look for the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I am in the middle. I insert the hook from the wrong side and look for my loop. I grab the loop I made with the hook. I bring it completely to the other side, slightly to the wrong side. I pull the loop next to it. I insert the hook. Grab the loop and bring it back to the front side. I hold it with my finger and pull it very tightly so that the loop is very tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, and after 4 rows I pick up this loop. I bring it to the wrong side. In the loop next to it, I insert the hook and bring this loop back to the front side, to the right side. Again, I pull this loop very tightly and secure it. And now from the chain stitches I will knit a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. I straighten it. I insert the hook into the loop from which I started knitting. I pick up this loop and bring it to the wrong side and cut it. I tie a knot. You can do this twice. And I straighten it out. This is the bridge I got. Now I'll hide all these tails with a smaller hook. It's very simple. I don't separate them, like they were with the thread, so that it's not too thick, and I tuck them in a chaotic position so that they don't unravel. I choose a place that's comfortable for me and at the same time, so that it's a little zigzag, so that it doesn't unravel too quickly. The front of the bootie is ready. Now I'll start on the back of the bootie. To keep the tongue out of the way, I'll tuck it neatly inside. For the back of the bootie, I'll first make a shortened row. It will start with the 11th loop. The loops that we made as half loops are also counted. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. I will start knitting a shortened row from the 11th loop. To avoid creating a step, I will knit the first loop as a partial loop. I will simply fasten it, and from the next loop I will knit single crochets. At the same time, I knit the tail into the product. I also count from this side. I know that I have 4 loops. I left half loops, and therefore, I will count from here. I already have 4, and more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Into this loop. This will be the last loop. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left on this side. This 7th loop will not be a single crochet, but a slip stitch, so that it looks even on both sides, so that there are no steps. The shortened row is ready. I'll immediately hide this tail so that I have it knitted in. And now I'll start on the next row. We have 4 half loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. I start with the second one. I skip the first one, the very first one, and start with the second one. And here's this loop, which is not full. I insert the hook into it, and the next one is already completely normal, just like I started knitting. This transition is exactly what's not visible because I didn't make it a step. And in knitting, it's practically invisible here too. This shortened row, if you look closely, is only visible otherwise. And it creates a rise at the back of the bootie so that the heel doesn't slip out of the shoe. In the same way, on this side, there is this loop and a slip stitch. It will be taken from the previous row, like a loop, and knitted to the penultimate loop. Here it is, the penultimate loop in the shortened row. And here is this slip stitch. I take it from the previous row and knit it with a single crochet. So, I reach the half loops. Here is my first, here is my second. And here is my third. I do not knit the last loop, the fourth. The turning loop. I turn the knitting and begin knitting. In each purl row, I will decrease loops. On this side, I decreased 1 loop, and I still have a loop to decrease on this side. I knit 2 rows, 1 knit and 1 purl. I do not count the crown row. In the purl row, I decreased 1 loop on this side and 1 on this side. Now I will have a third row. In the third row, right in the middle, I will decrease 1 loop. I turn the knitting and start knitting from the first loop in the front row. Yes, I think this is already the middle, and I will decrease in the classic way. Which method you choose is your choice. I decrease in the classic way. I pull a loop from one loop and pull a loop from another loop and knit one. I have decreased one loop. Then I knit without changes until the end of this row. I will consider this row finished, and therefore I will say that I have already knitted 3 rows. I need to knit 1 0 2 4 6 8 1 0. 10 rows and then I will knit the bootie. I already have 3, 7 left. In each purl row, I will decrease 1 loop on each side. This means that in each row I will decrease 2 loops. I will knit 10 rows and show you how to continue knitting the booties, how I tie them and how I knit the loops. I knitted 10 rows. It consists of 5 cables. 1 2 3 4 5. Now I will tie the entire bootie. Some booties don't have eyelets, so I always tie them. I do it with or without eyelets. I don't think it spoils it, it's beautiful, but the height of the booties increases by 3 more rows. 1 row of tie off. 1 row I make the loops and the next row I strengthen the loops. I make another row. That means 3 rows. I don't cut off the loop yet. I unfold it, strengthen it like this and lower the thread down. Now I will use the very last loop or the first loop. Here it will be the first, and here it will be the last loop. There it is. It is. And I begin knitting from this loop. I pull it a little so that the knitting doesn't tighten. I insert the hook and start crocheting. I hold this thread with my finger so that it doesn't remain in front of the knitting, so that it goes right into the knitting. The top loop itself, since we have a corner, I knit from one loop only twice to make a transition. That's enough. Sew to the end. And on the penultimate loop of this row we will meet. I have knitted this row to the end. I make a loop free. My main thread is on the front side. And for the last loop, I pick up this little loop like this and knit together. I fasten it off. Two single crochets, 2 chain stitches. I skip 1 loop and make a single crochet in the next loop. Dot. 2 chain stitches. I skip a loop. 2 single crochets. And now I knit the top peak. I have 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. I knit the top part without changing the single crochet. And on the next side, I will orient myself so that my loops are symmetrical. In the same way, look at what height I finish the loop, and then I will go down. I have the last 2 loops here. I have knitted this row almost to the end. I pull the loop out in the same way. The main thread remains on the wrong side. I turn the knitting to the front. And now, into this first loop, with which we began knitting, I insert the hook, pick up this thread. Knit together. Without a turning loop, without securing, I begin crocheting. 1, 2, 2 chain loops, 2 single crochets. The next 2 single crochets. Chain 2 single crochets, and so on. One side with holes is already ready. Very beautiful. Even if you don't have eyelets, look how neat the loops are. They won't break because we secured them with the next row. There will be a slip stitch along the edge. So nothing will happen to these loops, even if there are no eyelets. I will knit this way to the end. And I will not cut it. We will meet at the end of this row. I have knitted the last row. I have some yarn left. And now I will tie the edge of the booties so that the loops do not stretch and fan out. I insert the hook into the same loop we started with. Here it is, the very first and the very last one for me. Without a turning loop, I immediately begin tying with slip stitches from the wrong side. This is what it looks like from the wrong side. It also looks very beautiful. This is what it looks like from the right side. So, I will knit to the end. We are almost there. I will insert these eyelets that I have. I will glue the sole and show you the finished pair. The finished product. These are the booties I turned out. I inserted the eyelets. I have a lace on my channel. You can see how it's knitted. The sole is also simple, yet my booties turned out very original. The sole, a different color, adds a unique touch. It has these little teeth. Alternating short single crochets and long single crochets. It looks beautiful and original. I wish you easy stitches, great yarn, and good health.